Who Dey, Bengals fans. I think Amon and Jake are coming on in just a second.
There it is. There it is. Who Dey, who Dey. Bengal fans, this is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our Cincinnati Bengals. We have Eric. We have Justin, Mon. I am Jake. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Say hi, Marvin. Come on, just wave, everybody. Say hi. My brother.
Hi, guys.
My brother. All right, Marvin. Thanks. Okay.
That is Mon's brother, Marvin. We got a full house over here at Diablo Hassans watching the Bengals get a 41-24 victory, the first victory at home. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card that it would take 5 games for the Bengals to get their first home win, but it did, and they have. We have a lot to talk to, a lot to dive into, a lot of stuff happening this football game, some stuff before the football game too that we need to talk about as well. So again, we want to thank everybody for jumping in and joining us. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you comment in the comment section. Let us know how you are feeling about today's game as our Cincinnati Bengals go to 4-5. Mon, initial thoughts. What are your initial thoughts coming away from this football game?
I am happy with the win, but I've been grumpy since Max Crosby hit Joe Burrow. Been really grumpy about that. I posted something on Twitter, and a lot of Bengal fans are sticking up for Max Crosby. Hey, man, he's hugging him. Everything is great. It was bullcrap. Not one Bengal offensive lineman did anything about it, especially the second time when he hit him. But that's not the point right now. We won 41-24. Great win.
I got a punishment for him. Don't let him leave the city. Trade for him right now.
41-24, great win, very dominant, probably best overall complimentary football-wise, defense, offense. They did a really good job. I just wish they could have given their players a little bit more rest in the fourth quarter. That interception sort of caused them to come out there and have to play a little bit more. They have a big game Thursday night. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But, hey, it's a win.
As Justin said earlier, it's never easy being a Bengal fan. It is never easy. Justin, your initial thoughts after this 41-24 win?
Well, great individual performances by Joe and Chase and also Trey. I mean, 4 sacks, career high. He was unstoppable. He's got double-digit sacks now again. So, I mean, the stars really came out to shine today. Bengals obviously needed it, and they stepped up.
Yeah, and Gesicki, right? It was Gesicki. We got to finally watch that horrible version of the Gritty twice. We got to watch it twice. No, I'm happy for Gesicki. I mean, obviously, the Bengals were down some offensive weapons today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Germaine Burton situation here after we talk about this football game. Mon, we did it. Not only did we win a football game, but we rushed for over 100 yards, Mon. Chase Brown with a career day rushing. He had 27 carries for 120 yards. A good day for him. The Bengals as a team rushed for 130 yards on 31 carries. Mon, your thoughts on the Bengals run game today? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was refreshing to see. 31 carries. When was the last time you saw a Bengal team rush the ball 30 times in a game? I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here. I think in the fourth quarter we got a big game Thursday night. Chase Brown's going to run the ball a lot Thursday night. Give him some break. Give him a break. Let Travion Williams come in. Kendall Milton. Let's see what they have. I love it. Let's continue. What have we said the last 4 weeks? The Bengals can't run the ball. They're terrible at running the ball. And to see this today, it was a breath of fresh air because they were limited offensively with Higgins out, Burton out. They only dressed 4 wide receivers today.
Yes,
that's it.
Yes.
And so they had to run the ball. I called it before the game. I said they'd run for 150 today. They ran for 130. But it was refreshing to see, and hope it's a continuing trend.
4 wide receivers dress, 4 tight ends dress. One of them, Eric All, goes down early in the game. Eric, have you heard anything about Eric All's situation? I know I saw something from Dr. Chow, but it didn't look promising.
So you guys know I've kind of gone into dark modes a lot during games. I leave the chat. I put my phone down. My son gave me updates. A lot of people fear that it's an ACL. He was walking on it though, so maybe it's just an MCL strain. I don't know. It didn't look good, but yeah, not good to come through that. He was really seeming to be that tight end that we were expecting Gesicki to be. But kudos to Gesicki for stepping up and jumping in there and kind of taking over. I just want to go back and say, we left Thursday. We kind of had an argument on the show. Do we need to just let Joe cook, or can we get this run game going? You didn't think we could get the run game going, but you said we had to get it going. So I feel like we both won today. Joe cooked and the run game got going. So I think this is the Bengals Pulse victory all around. I sure hope you've got 2 ice cream cakes over there, because there's a lot of celebrating that needs to go on.
I'm going to be honest with you, Eric. Now that you say that, I don't see an ice cream cake, which is pretty upsetting, to be honest. Mon was shoving Kit Kats down his gullet before we went on air, so I'm guessing there is no ice cream cake.
Budget cuts. Budget cuts.
Bring your own ice cream cake.
I know Eric hopefully it's not a serious injury. Dr. Chow isn't, he's pretty reputable. Hopefully,
unless he's working on Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that one. But there's a lot of guys on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. They failed biology in high school, but they know exactly what happened to his knee. So it's I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, it's not that serious, and we'll find out soon enough.
Well, let's talk about Joe cooking real quick, Eric. Because Joe Burrow goes 27 of 39, 251, 5 touchdowns. Obviously, through that pick six, which was just a bad play altogether, bad call play. I think at that moment, they just got a first down. So that's not really a good first down play anyways. But you can see Joe was pissed off about it pretty much for the rest of the game. Even after he threw the Gesicki touchdown, he was either pissed off about that or pissed off that Jamar dropped a first down. But Joe Burrow did cook today, and this Bengals offensive line that is just not been very healthy. Obviously, with Cody Ford in there, did a good job. Joe only got sacked 1 time. He did make some plays on his feet. Chase Brown, we talked about the 27 carries for 120. Mike Gesicki, 5 catches, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, gets his first 2 touchdowns as a Bengal receiver or tight end. Jamar Chase, 7 catches, 43 yards. Chase Brown, not only running the football for 120, but 5 catches, 37 yards, 157 total yards with a touchdown catch. Eric All, 2 for 24 after he goes down. And your guy, Eric, Drew Sample, doing sample things out there. 4 catches, 14 yards, and a touchdown for Drew Sample.
My guy Tanner Hudson almost had a big first down catch, almost had a touchdown.
He should have scored on that one. That should have been Joe's 6th touchdown pass.
If I told
Yoshi with a touchdown, 1 catch for 10 yards. Again, I got a feeling there's going to be a nickname coming up here very soon about Yoshi only catches touchdowns. Logan Wilson, 2 fumble recoveries on defense. Obviously, Trey with 4 sacks. Chris Jenkins, the rookie, gets a sack as well. He had a nice game. He had a really nice game. So let's go back to this offensive game real quick. And obviously, Mon said it earlier, a very complimentary football game from the Bengals offense and defense, even special teams chipping in. I want to get your thoughts first, Justin, on how did you feel this Bengals offense was run today? Do you feel like they did a good job of throwing the ball, running the ball, and being a balanced offense? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and early it was interesting because they were really just keeping it underneath in the middle of the field, just taking what the defense gave them. Obviously, with T out, you don't have as much in the vertical passing game, so they were very kept it very simple early and just took the open receivers, and I was really impressed with how Joe was kind of spreading the ball around. But I think to not have that, vertical passing game as much with only having Chase out there and to still get the run game going was extremely impressive. And to me, that's the biggest positive you can take away, that even with the passing game being somewhat limited today, the Raiders, even though they could have keyed more on the run game, still really weren't able to stop Cincinnati in that portion.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Justin, because the Bengals weren't able to really challenge this Raiders team vertically without T. Higgins, but they were still able to run the football. They threw the football, I think, 39 times, ran it 31 times. Mon, a balanced game. What are your thoughts on this Bengals offense today? Obviously, you haven't been happy with it the last couple of weeks. What are you feeling after today?
Just to pick up what Justin said, the Raiders are going to take away Jamar Chase. They knew we were limited at wide receiver. He only had 5 catches, I think, for 37 yards. Is that what I said? I want to go back to the press conference, I think on Friday or maybe Thursday with Zac Taylor. Zac Taylor called out his offensive line in a subtle way. He said they need to be more physical to point of attack. The Raiders knew the Bengals were going to run the ball, and you know what? We were successful, fairly successful. That's good. I think in the last couple of weeks, Chase Brown has gotten more carries than Zach Moss. I think that's going to be a continuation, and it's exciting. He's a slippery guy. He has burst. Our offensive line, we don't have any maulers, so we need a running back like that. Hopefully, it continues because it needs to be. I think we're a better team when we run the ball well, and we saw it today with 41 points. So it's a positive thing, and going into Thursday night, which is probably going to be the biggest game. It is the biggest game of the year, and we need to get ready for that.
Well, let's talk about this because I know we have a lot of people on here talking about Germaine Burton. We're going to get to that in just a second. But let's talk about this defense real quick because obviously Trey Henderson has a career game, 4 sacks in one game. That is a career high for him. He now has 11 sacks on the season. Am I right about that, Justin?
Yep.
11 sacks on the season. Obviously, this is a guy we talk about all the time. The Bengals have got to make sure he's in Cincinnati for a long time. But let's talk about Mike Hilton because he's another guy that this is a guy that the Bengals have they've got to re-sign him. He was like his old self today. Made 2 big tackles for loss back to back on a very important offensive drive. What are your thoughts on Mike Hilton, Mon? I mean, the guy I think he's one of the best tacklers on this team.
I think he's fearless. He has an attitude. He plays with passion. We need more Mike Hiltons on the team. And, the guy's like 5'8", and he just throws his body. He's a great run defender. He's our nickel corner, and he just everybody talks about. I remember in Pittsburgh, he was great at blitzing off, the edge and getting the quarterback. Well, he blitzes on rundowns to get the running back. He's just fearless, and he really gave us a spark. Him and Trey Hendrickson are easily the best players on defense. It's not even close. And seeing him today, I mean, that's inspiring. And that defense has to, hopefully just pick up that energy and take it to another level. They have to. A lot of rookies today played a lot of snaps, and they're going to lean on a Mike Hilton and a Trey Hendrickson, that to give them advice and say, hey guys, feed off their energy. It was a good day today. They're only going to get better, these rookies. And they, Mike Hilton and Trey Hendrickson are a big reason why, to help mentor them. And
not only the rookies, Justin, but a lot of the second-year guys. We saw DJ Ivey play a little bit of football today. Jordan Battle was a third-leading tackler on this team today. I think Jordan Battle, once again, shows that he belongs in this league. Justin, your thoughts on Jordan Battle's play? 6 tackles, 3 solos. He had a couple PBUs.
Yeah.
He played great today, right?
And the one that really stood out to me was that play down the left sideline where Minshew had Bowers. That would have been a first down.
That was a big
and the
play.
Ball was in Bowers' hands, and Battle broke it up as they went to the ground, and that was such a beautiful play. I want to see him continue to develop because obviously with the injuries in the secondary, guys are going to have to step up, and it's good to see that that's happening. And definitely want to see Jordan continue to build off that game today because he was playing like his pants were on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's real quick. Let's get to the team stats because normally these don't look as good as they do today. So let's talk about them real quick. Bengals with 26 first downs. We love to see it. 18 of those passing. Third down today, the Bengals 8 of 15. That's a huge stat for sure. Total plays, the Bengals get to over 70 plus with 71 total plays. 373 total yards to the Raiders, 217. And again, I know a lot of you are talking about how bad the Raiders are, but you guys have to understand good teams, they have to do this against bad teams, right? I mean, the Bengals don't normally do this. They normally play down to these bad teams. Today, the Bengals dominated this football game, and I think that is a positive sign. Again, we know the Raiders are not great, but the Bengals held them to 60 yards rushing. That is a positive, right, Mon? I mean, that's something we got to start looking at some of these positives.
Well, and that's what we said. That's what I said on Thursday. Stop playing down to the competition. Go out there and dominate a team you're supposed to dominate, and the Bengals absolutely did. We talk about, maybe not having as much success in the second half. The Bengals came out and scored on 5 straight possessions. They dominated this game. They didn't close it out like we really should have closed it out in the third quarter. Joe Burrow should have been out of there for the whole fourth. We had an opportunity to close them out, and we didn't. So there's a little concern there, but we absolutely dominated. I mean, Joe Burrow came out, what did he start, 15 of 15, and just was cooking, and at the same time, Chase Brown was cooking. But yeah, exactly like we said on Thursday, nope, stop playing down to your competition. Go out there and beat the crap out of these teams that you're supposed to beat up, and that's what they finally did. So that's a real big positive that I take out of this game.
It's Joe Bember, baby.
It's Joe. But listen. Let's not forget too.
You got
this Raiders team beat the Baltimore Ravens. Let's not forget that. Let's not before we start taking this game lightly. Let's not forget the Raiders not only beat the Ravens, but they dominated the Ravens in that football game. So let's not overlook. This is the NFL. These are good football players, right? They're the best in the world. I mean, we can't just take a game like this lightly. We have to look at it as a positive that the Bengals went out and they destroyed a team that they were supposed to destroy, right, Mom?
Yeah, I mean, you can only they're on the schedule. They got to play them. They're not a good team, but they went in and dominated them like they're supposed to do that. And they're supposed to dominate that team. They did. It's a positive. It's not a negative. I got to be real. I'm really having a hard time. Guys, I need you to message in. You got 460 people right now watching this live. How can not one offensive lineman for the Bengals go up to Max Crosby and do something about it? I'm not saying get a penalty. How can you not get in his face and say don't do that? He hit him twice.
Yeah, you're me.
I mean, seriously, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Not one Bengal offensive lineman went up and said anything to him. Man, that's a bad look. That's a bad look. I'm sorry. Look. That's a horrible look.
And I don't know what exactly you had said something about Burrow said something to Ted Karras or got into, or maybe that was Justin during the game, that something happened. There was an exchange between Burrow and Ted Karras. And I think Matt Lee was in the game, wasn't he?
He was in the game
afterwards. So I don't know what happened.
Gainer or Jay Morrison, one of them tweeted that Burrow said something to Karras. I don't know what it was about. We have no idea. I don't know. But, man, it's just a bad look. The referee on that penalty announced it. The whistle was blown. That's why they threw the 15-yard penalty. And there's Bengal fans on Twitter. I respect you. Hey, man, they hugged it out. It was a big hug, man. It was a big mistake. Okay, what about the second time? Oh, man, he hugged him again. Give me a break, man.
He followed it up on another play with a late hit that should have been a 15-yard penalty.
No, but he hugged him, Eric. He hugged him.
Yeah, he could have given him a concussion on that play. So those people, Mon, you won that on Twitter. I read that.
No, don't do that, Eric. Gee, Justin and I have to say this.
Am I wrong?
Would you not run out there and be up in the ref's face if someone did that to your quarterback? I think you would.
I have a question for the chat. Does anyone think Joe was inspired today by Macaulay Culkin dressing up?
I wanted to see him go, but he hasn't done it yet.
So the Bengals say, guys, 35
Maybe that was
minutes.
Macaulay Culkin playing. We don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was not the case, but I don't think Macaulay Culkin's got 20 touchdown passes on the year.
A lot of people asking.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, I know we're going to get to that. Just real quick, the last stat, I think it's important. The Bengals with 35 minutes time of possession, the Raiders with 24. So again, the Bengals dominate this football game today. Let's talk about some stuff that happened during the game and before the game, okay? Let's get to, first of all, guys, Eric All goes down with hopefully nothing serious. BJ Hill went down with a rib injury. The Bengals already coming into this game banged up. No T. Higgins, no Chucky Sizzle, no Orlando Brown Jr., no Zach Moss. They're saying Zach Moss might be out for multiple weeks. This Bengal team came into this game banged up, missing a lot of starters. So again, I think that's something else. We can't overlook that. We can't overlook that in this win today because we were banged up. But let's talk about Germaine Burton, right? Germaine Burton, stay focused, Mon.
My brother fell. I'm sorry.
And you're laughing. That's
You gotta love him.
Come on, you got us barricaded in this place. We got gates everywhere. Listen, guys,
I want to hug him.
There's gates everywhere in this house. You literally have to climb over things to get to things. Listen, but let's talk about Germaine Burton because that's obviously the talk of the town right now. Germaine Burton, he showed up for the game. He was a healthy scratch. Obviously, there's something going on behind the scenes. Come on, that's Yash.
Come on, Yash. Come on.
But yeah, there's obviously something going on behind the scenes with Germaine Burton. You know, Justin, you are our college expert. There was some stuff Germaine Burton had going on in Alabama. There were some red flags when he came out of the draft. Is this some of the things that Alabama and Nick Saban had to deal with, Justin?
Well, I mean, Saban didn't really come out and say exactly what had been going on, but he alluded to it certainly. And yeah, it just needs to grow up. And I mean, now we're seeing why, he fell to where he was at the draft. The Bengals rolled the dice. He's extremely talented, but if you're not going to do the things you need to do, it's going to be a problem. And I don't know what's going to happen. He needs to turn it around, though.
I'm going to blame Justin because he was excited about the draft pick. Justin, you're the reason he's a Bengal right now.
I was excited. I was excited about it.
Can I say something?
Some people don't know what happened, but obviously T. Higgins is out for the whole week, and not everybody knows fully what happened. But T. Higgins is out. Germaine Burton was a big plan. He was going to take T. Higgins' role. He was a big part of the install this week, and he didn't show up for the walkthrough on Saturday. Zac Taylor commented in his press conference afterwards. He said Germaine Burton says he didn't handle his business the right way. He praised him. He said he's a great athlete. He was a big part of the install. He's going to have a great career here. It was a difficult decision to keep him inactive, but it was the right
decision. Is this
decision.
after the game, Eric?
This is his after the game comment.
Okay.
So he said he didn't handle his business right. He's a phenomenal player. He didn't handle his business right. It was a tough decision, but it was the right decision. We're going to support him and help him get to be the player that he can be. So he called him out for the stuff that he did. You're not showing up. He really let his team down. And some people are pointing out to some of the body language and the comments that Joe made at the end of the game towards Germaine. He was pissed because, Joe works his butt off and he eats, sleeps, and breathes this team trying to get us to a Super Bowl, and to have someone let him down like that. So that's basically the gist of what happened. Go ahead, Mon.
Okay, Eric, I just want to say something. A lot of people on Twitter, are like, hey, screw him, cut him, get rid of him. He's a waste. It's frustrating. Zac Taylor had no choice. You can't not let him dress if he sleeps through and doesn't attend meetings. Apparently, obviously, there's other things, maybe the same thing that's popped up over the last few weeks because he's been a healthy scratch 3 times. Guys, go back in time. Go back in time to recent history. Tyler Boyd's second year, there was serious talk about cutting him. Yes. He wasn't on the field. Tyler Boyd had a traffic incident. Marvin Lewis was fed up with him. There was serious discussions about cutting Tyler Boyd. Thank God this team allowed him to mature and develop into a good player. I'm not making excuses for Germaine Burton. I'm not making excuses for him at all. He's got to grow up. He's got to step up. We can't wash our hands of him. He's a rookie. He's developing, and let's be patient.
Well, I agree. And so Zim was on Spaces earlier on today, and you see this a lot in life. It's not just, he might be a knucklehead, and he might turn out to be a knucklehead, but there's also a mental health issue there. We all know those guys that are about to get it. They're about to succeed. They're so close. and they self-sabotage themselves because they don't believe they're worthy of it, or something happened. And it really kind of seems like something's going on there where every time he's about to break through, he self-sabotages. So you got to support him. You need those guys like the Tyler Boyds that were in that room. What somebody pointed this out earlier too. It might have been you, Mon. I saw it on Twitter. Joe Mixon was that big locker room voice for those guys. People forget how much he was mentoring those young guys.
So
I don't know if
leader.
we have that. Maybe we're starting to get that, but we need those guys to step up and help mentor these people through those things. And I think hopefully that's what this is.
Okay, you know what? I could see it, potentially some of these fans are really emotional about it. We're not going to cut a guy after 9 games. It's not going to happen. Give him a chance to develop and see how see how things shake out. We were patient with Tyler Boyd and it worked out. There's been other players in the past it didn't. This guy's a phenomenal talent. Let's see how it shakes out. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people got to grow up. I know I remember going through that in the professional workplace where I had to kind of figure out, how to be a professional, and that's what Burton's going through right now. And yeah, you can't just cut those guys, cut them loose. And there's already been investment in time and money in him, and they should continue to do it. But there will be a point where Burton's going to have to either figure it out, and go forward and become a positive producing member of the team, or they're going to have to move on. But I don't think we're there yet. But he does need a wake up call, and hopefully he's getting it, because that's what Boyd got. Sometimes and they always figure it out. They always figure it out. Like he may end up figuring it out somewhere else. I hope not, though.
Yeah, LeVar, don't bring that up. That hurts.
I think that's a good point. I mean, LeVar,
it is a good point,
LeVar. I don't know. Can you put up LeVar's comment there? That's a good point. I mean, the Bengals have had a history of this, guys, and obviously this is a different regime than the Odell Thurman and the Tyler Boyd regime, but there's definitely some similarities. But Mon, I think you said it perfectly. This is not a guy you can just give up on. Just like you said, you got to find a way to be a pro. And Eric, you made a good point too. I mean, guys, I don't think you realize that when we lost DJ Reader and we lost Joe Mixon, we lost Tyler Boyd. These were the voices of the locker room. These were captains. Jesse Bates. These were not just great football players. These were captains. And a locker room without captains and leadership can be very soured. And, I'm not saying that's the Bengals locker room right now, but obviously there is some what's the captain?
Yeah, come on, man.
Man, yeah, just on it.
Yeah, she was good, man. Come on.
Last couple years.
But to his point, Tyler Boyd was that voice in the wide receiver room. What do you have this year? Yes, you've got T. Higgins, you've got Jamar Chase, but what are they going through? They're both going through nasty contract situations. So you can't expect them to be the voice of reason out there. You can't expect them to be taking on the mentorship as much. We want them to, but that's kind of hard when they're going through what they're going through with the front office as well. So losing Tyler Boyd's production in the locker room is probably hurts us more than losing his non-production on the field.
Eric, they have invested a lot of draft picks the last 2 years in that wide receiver room, and we need those guys to play better. Yoshi has flashed. Burton is having his issues. Charlie Jones has scored a couple touchdowns on special teams, but we need a little bit more from them, because Higgins and Chase are some of the best players in football. The drop off after them, it should be a little lower. I get it. They're really good, but it's a big drop off for the Bengals. We need some of those guys to really step up. I'm hoping Burton, listen, we just need to be a little bit more patient with them. I totally get the frustration, but just again, one last time, the Bengals almost cut Tyler Boyd year 2. I'm glad they did.
The last comment on this, I mean, everything happens. I believe everything happens when it's supposed to for a reason. This is the best possible week that this could happen. I mean, can you imagine if this happened before the Ravens game? We need him out there. We need all hands on deck. We were playing the Raiders today. Yes, we dominated them, but this is the one game where if you don't have Burton, you can figure it out. but we need him on Thursday, especially if T doesn't go.
Well, I think a lot of people are making a good point too. Let's make sure we give Zac Taylor some kudos because that's a hard decision to make as a head football coach. When you are you're 0-4 at home, your second best receiver is out, and you're trying to get this offense going. But he stood by he stood by his culture and what he has brought to this locker room, and kudos to him because that's how you keep that culture going in your locker room is making sure that whatever you set down as the institution of a program, that you stick with that and you're consistent with that. So kudos for Zac for that. Let's talk about guys. Two things. One, the Bengals now go to 4-5. Baltimore goes to 6-3. The Browns drop to 2-7. They're done. Baltimore at 6-3. Cincinnati at 4-5. This game on Thursday is huge, right? I mean, the Bengals can get back to 500 and pick up a game on the Ravens. They would only be one game behind the Ravens with a win in Baltimore on Thursday night. Obviously, it being a short week is a little tough, but I want to talk about first how big this game is next week, and then I want to talk about Mon. You had thrown out some names while we were watching the game. The trade deadline coming up on Tuesday. Do the Bengals make any moves? So let's talk about first how big is this game on Thursday night? Mon, we'll start with you.
It's huge. It's a reset, totally reset the season if they can find a way to win. It's a game we're not supposed to win, and we've lost some games that we weren't supposed to lose. So it's a good way to pick one of those off, come in. It would reset the season. It's going to be tough. Baltimore in prime time is almost perfect. I think they've only lost one game over the last 3 years in prime time. It's going to be hard to play there, but they got to dig down deep inside and fix this. You want to talk about the trade deadline, or is that the next subject?
I want to get Justin. I want to get Justin's.
It's a huge game. They got to show up. Zac Taylor, we need a masterpiece from you.
I agree, Justin.
Yeah, I mean, gotta have it. At this point, they're pretty much all must wins at this stage of the game with the whole Cincinnati dug themselves in. I think it's a good point, Mon. They've dropped 3 now that they should have won.
Yep.
And so you got to find a way to make a few of those up. And Thursday night's a great place to start. So,
Eric, your thoughts, man. The Bengals. I mean, let's be real. If there wasn't a bad hole, the Bengals beat the Ravens the first time they play them. Joe Burrow throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Absolutely cooks the Ravens defense. Does that give this Bengals team, some motivation, and not only some motivation, but some confidence going into this Ravens game?
There's so much motivation to be there. We went into this game. We've been down because the last few weeks our offense hasn't been clicking like it was in that Baltimore game. I mean, we were all elated at the offensive performance against Baltimore. They were cooking. We were a stop away. We were a botched hold away from winning that game. All the motivation is there. I think this game gives us that motivation for offense to go there. I think there are so many things that play into it, but I think the biggest thing, because Joe Burrow doesn't forget, he got injured that last year. I think it was a year to the day that we play him again in Baltimore.
Knock on wood, Eric. Knock on wood, Eric.
And as he's coming off there, the classy Baltimore fans are chanting F Joe Burrow, a guy who just got his season-ending injury. Joe's not going to forget that. I see this offense picking up right where it left off in the last Baltimore game. I see it picking up right where it left off today. And you see Joe Burrow throws that last touchdown to Gesicki, and he's pissed off. He's still pissed about maybe everything that went up. The fact that we're just getting to 4-5, like it's not enough. And you see it's not enough because he wanted to go out there and get a 6 TD to Jamara. I think that our offense is going to be just playing lights out. I think this is when we get it. We finally get over that hump in Baltimore, and it is the official reset to the season. It's all right there in front of us.
Well, Mon, let's talk about this because you had said some things before. When at halftime of this game, talked about the Bengals going out and making some moves. You thought maybe corner and maybe an edge rusher, Mon. Throw some names out there, some guys you think maybe the Bengals might be interested in. We've heard a lot of talk on Twitter that the Bengals are very serious about going out and doing this. Yet to be seen. You said, Mon, that today the Browns traded Zadarius Smith to the Lions, right? So I don't know. Mon, tell me, who do the Bengals like? Who might they go after?
Yeah, Diana Rossini from The Athletic, very reputable national beat writer for them. She mentioned the Bengals are making calls for cornerback help and defensive line help, and names have been thrown around. Ojulari, the defensive end from the Giants, they're very deep there. They got a great defensive line. He's in his contract year, so if the Bengals get him, he's basically a 8-game rental, and they would have to sign him. I don't know what they want for him, but that's a name they threw around. I've heard Calais Campbell's name thrown around also. He's about 40, 38, I don't know. There's a lot of players out there. Corner really is something that I was excited about. They need a veteran presence back there. Cam Taylor-Britt and DJ Turner, I think they have amazing talent. They're just not there. They need a real mentor back there in the cornerback room. Hilton is more of a slot guy. I think another vet corner would be great. I fully expect them. I really think they're going to make a move. I really do. Remember the press conference last week? Joe Burrow was asked about other teams in the conference making moves, and so was Zac Taylor. It was an uncomfortable press conference. Trags asked those tough questions, and you could tell, I think Joe was like sort of irritated because I think he would like to see some moves. So we'll see. I think it's going to happen. I really do. And one other thing real quick, I know we're talking about free agent acquisition or trades. I did love seeing Jenkins, McKinley Jackson playing a lot today. BJ Hill was nicked up and was taken out. Those guys had 30, 40 snaps. It's nothing but positive for them. We're going to need them the rest of the year.
And one of Trey's sacks was really directly because of them. They pushed the interior of that pocket, and Trey just cleaned it up. So that's what we've been looking for all offseason and so far this year. So that was a big thing to see today.
Justin, do you think the Bengals go out and make a move? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do, but I hope they all make a move for number 77 from the Raiders.
he's still laying on the field.
Yeah, still got tire marks getting run over by Trey.
Mon said Trey got that guy fired today.
Yeah.
Justin, but your thoughts? Did the Bengals go out and get anybody?
Well, I mean, I think if you want to take a run at it this year, then you got to do something. You can't stand on what they currently have. Especially on the defensive side of the ball. The one that would be interesting to me, and you talked about it today, Jake, was Max Crosby. I mean, I think if there's a situation where you can get him at the right price, I think you got to take a look at that. As good as Trey is, you give him someone on the other side, that could really wreck some things for teams moving forward.
That would be a problem.
But Mont. So when I brought this up, when I talked about Max Crosby, Mon threw a couple of wrenches in that whole thing. Mon, why don't you talk about it for a minute? Because I think you made some good points.
Listen, I don't mind if the Bengals, trade a 4th, 5th, or 6th round pick, even a 3rd. But Crosby is going to demand. The Raiders are going to demand a mint for him. He's a great player. He's 27, right, Justin?
Yep,
27 years old. Teamed up with Trey Hendrickson would be unbelievable. Now, the cap ramifications, I don't know. I think the Raiders, I went over to cap.com when we were talking about it earlier. It's a $10 million cap hit for them. And I think he has a $30 million cap hit. Do the Bengals absorb all of that? I don't know. And don't forget, guys, Trey Hendrickson was contemplating holding out because he wanted more money. We trade for Hendrickson. He makes $8-9 million more than him. Could that be an issue? I mean, Trey's a professional. I just don't see the Bengals doing it. Would I be happy if they did? Heck yeah, I would. I'd be very happy. But I would be stunned if it happened.
Could you see them throwing in someone like Sam Hubbard and a pick for Max Crosby? You're giving them, that helps the cap ramifications there.
I think they would charge us more if we throw in Sam Hubbard. I'm not trying to be mean, guys. Listen, Sam Hubbard is a great Bengal. Guys, no, I just don't think he's
right. No. Let me throw.
We're going to get rid of Sam Hubbard. I don't think the Bengals would get rid of Sam Hubbard, to be honest with you.
Let me throw another name out there for you. Maybe you haven't thought about, but what about trying to get Jadeveon Clowney? Probably wouldn't cost as much as these other guys, and he's still got some heat he can bring.
I don't know. For me, I think I'd be more interested in Ojulari from the Giants.
Well, yeah, he's the home run pick, but we don't always get home runs. The Bengals often.
I think it's an age thing too. Like what I mean, because you still want to bring in maybe a guy that if he does shine, you want to re-sign him next year, maybe some youth and. I don't know. I feel like he would be the better, but
I think when you're talking two different things. Yeah, we want to get the guy that's going to help us long term, but if we're talking about making a run and contributing this year, a guy like Clowney is kind of in the Bengals type of wheelhouse. You probably give up a fifth or sixth for him. He helps you this year. Maybe you have him for next year as well, but you really need him for this year. I think that's more realistic. Obviously, Azeez from the Giants is the number one guy you want to get. But you're probably not going to get that guy because another team might really throw out a high value pick out there where you got to get something. Go get Clowney.
Eric, this season, I mean, like it or not, Bengal fans, it's still a big unknown. We're 4-5. And if they make a move, it's going to motivate that locker room. It's going to motivate the fan base. We're going to get excited. But I want a guy. I don't want him an 8-game rental. I want him to be able to come in and be a Bengal for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I agree.
So if they do get the guy from the Giants, that signed a contract extension, it's going to cost money. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, no, I mean, that'd be great if you could pull him from the Giants and then use that as a piece building moving forward. But as a rental, no, absolutely not. Whatever they do, if they're gonna use some draft capital, then it needs to be a player that's going to be around for a while. But yeah, if it's someone if you're just throwing away like a 6th-round pick for this year, then maybe. But I'm not sure any of the options we've discussed are really that attractive.
Yash brought up some good potential people. What about DJ Reed or Elijah Molden? What do you think? Does Reed play for the Jets? Look that up real quick. Those are 2 corner options. The Bengals definitely need help there, and I that would be welcome too. That really would.
Well, and that's one of the big things to when you go up against the Ravens. I saw this stat on my NFL fantasy actually that Lamar Jackson has the highest percentage of throws to wide open receivers this year at like 31%. You get cornerback help. Make him have some tight throws instead of giving him wide open receivers. That's one of the keys to beating Lamar Jackson, which, maybe they can't contribute this week, but definitely if we end up seeing him in the playoffs. The last thing that I put on this trading for someone that can contribute this year, the AFC it's not a runaway conference this year. I think we are in 6th or 7th place right now. So even if we lose to the Ravens, we are not out of it by any means. We're still talking the potential with our weak schedule of getting into the wild card. So I want someone that contribute this year, and if we can get them long term, great. But I just think you got to get somebody that can help this year.
I just read up on Reed. He's actually I like the Reed one. I mean, he's 27 years old. He seems like he would be a good fit for the Bengals. Again, I think it's going to be interesting to see what these next couple of days looks like. Obviously winning today is a big, hopefully gave them a little bit of a push to go out and make a couple moves. Again, for me, I'm not a draft pick guy. Like I'm about winning right now. So if the Bengals need to go out and give up draft picks, go up and get out draft picks. We're trying to win now. We are we're in a very small window now with the whole Higgins and just we got some guys on defense that are coming up at the end of their contract. So I'm about winning now. I don't really care too much about draft picks or that sort, Mon.
Yeah, I think I sent this out earlier. So what if they give up 4th or 5th round picks? I would much rather give that up for players that have started NFL games because 4th, 5th round picks get cut all the time.
And we're not very good at developing them.
No.
I'm not trying to be negative, but we're not very good at developing them anyways.
We need some help in the trenches. We really do.
Wasn't Zach Carter a 4th round pick?
3rd round
Right.
pick. You look how dominant Trey Hendrickson is. He doesn't really have a lot of help, guys. He really doesn't, and he's doing it. He's a one-man show. And could you imagine having somebody else on the other side that's going to come in and well, I know that was my dog. I'm sorry. I just, having somebody else on the other side that can give some constant pressure to it might open up his game even more.
Well, and we saw that. We saw that in those AFC Championship runs. Sam Hubbard was that guy. He did help collapse people towards Trey and vice versa. And Sam Hubbard's just been a shell of that the last few years. So
guys, I don't dislike Sam Hubbard. I love Sam Hubbard, but he's had lower leg injuries 2 years in a row. I'm just not seeing it. He's a team leader. I'm rooting for him, guys. I'm rooting for him. I said this during the game. We have some guys with big contracts that aren't living up to that salary. Kappa, Hubbard, and I'll say it, Sheldon Rankins. Sheldon Rankins has really underperformed. He's making $12 million this year. So if you combine those three, that's $32 million for guys that we need to play. They need to play better. All three of them need to play better for this team because we're paying them and we're depending on them, and they just need to play better.
Yeah. Just last real quick research on DJ Reed, and this kind of seals my point on where the AFC is right now. Diana Rossini posted an article that the Jets, after their victory to get to 3-6 on Thursday, are not going to be trading any players because they feel like they could still make a playoff run. The AFC is weak. We have to get someone to win now, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be DJ Reed.
Well, go to the NFC then. Go to the NFC. Go to the Giants. Let's get an edge rusher, somebody to help Trey Hendrickson out, because this defense would look a lot different. And again, Mon, you said it before. It's 100% true. The way you make your DBs better is to make your edge rushers better. So go out and get an edge rusher. If the Bengals go out and get an edge rusher, and that's all they get, I will be very happy, as long as it's somebody that's comparable and not just going out and getting a body to appease fans or to make it look like you're trying to make a move. Go out and give up a 4th-round pick and go out and get a dude that is not only going to be a Bengal this year to help out, but maybe has the opportunity to be a future Bengal.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they're going to improve their team. I really think our Cincinnati Bengals are going to make a move this week. They need to reinforce that defense. I think they acknowledge, a lot of people may not like hearing this, the defense has been bad, but Lou Anarumo, we can criticize him. He deserves it. But he's playing with a limited deck right now. He really is. We're really struggling in the trenches. Our defensive backs, Dax Hill was our best defensive back. He's out for the year. Some of the guys, Geno Stone really hasn't flashed yet. Hopefully his best football is going to come soon. Von Bell is a coach on the field. He's lost a step. 17. The Bengals have 17 team sacks this year. Think about it. 17. Guess who has 11 of them? 11 from one player. Guys, he is dominant. He should get some major consideration for All-Pro.
And he didn't do anything last week. Like, he's got 11 sacks, and he took a game off, essentially.
And former Bengal Fred Johnson had a lot to do with that. That kills me also. But let's just move on. I think they're going to make a move. Some of these young rookies are playing good snaps. Chris Jenkins is going to be a great pro player. And I think McKinley Jackson, every time I see him play, the more excited I get about him. The Bengals have done a good job with those guys. I'm really happy with them. Guys, Jordan Battle played a good game today. He played a lot of snaps. How many snaps did he have?
I don't know, but he was in a lot. He was in a lot. He played a lot of football today, and again, played really well. So I think there was definitely some pot. Listen, we're going to find out how good this Bengals team is, right? We saw there's a gauntlet. These next 4 games is a gauntlet. Ravens, Chargers, Steelers. Who's after the Steelers? Ravens.
We got Ravens, Chargers,
Steelers, and there's somebody else.
Dallas.
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Nickelodeon game. Yeah, Bart Simpson. Yep.
Oh,
well, the Cowboys not so much, but those other 3 are good football teams. We'll see what this Bengal team is made of. Listen, this really could be a reset, guys. If the Bengals can somehow win those 3 football games, they might be right up at the top of the AFC North again if they go beat the Steelers, Chargers, and Ravens. So we're going to see what this team's made of. We're going to have a lot to talk about on Thursday, guys, not just the game that night. right? Because we are going to do. Eric, why don't you tell them real quick what the plan is?
So let's talk about that. It's kind of exciting. I've wanted to do this before, but normally we have our shows on Thursday night. Obviously, the Bengals play on Thursday night, so we are going to do a live pregame show. It'll be our normal show where we do a quick predictions, but it's going to be a pregame show, leading up. I think we're going to try and go at 6:30 ish.
Yeah, 6:30ish.
6:30ish.
Make it 6:45.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna be off the air by 7:30, so everybody can go get settled in at your Bengals watching with your wherever you're gonna watch the game. But we're gonna go live pre-game, get all psyched up, really talk about the game, and then immediately after the game, we're gonna go live to do a post-game victory celebration. So we're gonna be pretty excited. The Pulse is gonna be up late again Thursday night, but it's gonna be worth it.
And hopefully we will be talking about on Thursday pregame the Bengals additions that are going to be making an impact.
That's going to be the question. We're gonna spend 15 minutes of how much do these guys impact tonight's game? Do they get out there? That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, and I got a big day at work Friday. I don't want to go in angry. I need a win. Okay, I need a win because
you wouldn't like Mon when he's angry.
No, I got a stressful job. I don't need more Bengal stress on top of it.
You know what I love? You know what I love too is I'm seeing some comments about how the Bengals have only beaten bad teams. 2 of those bad teams beat the Ravens. Just to let you guys know, guys. Thank you. So
hold on one second. Hold on. Go ahead, Eric. Do it.
Yeah, no, we can't leave. There's been a lot of talk about. Leading up to this game, there was a lot of Zac Taylor, horrible coaching. Zac Taylor should be gone. Is he going to be gone? All that stuff. We see a lot of the bad coaching out there, but we want to give a shout out for some good coaching. Not often that we get to talk about good coaching, but shout out to our boy Jake.
Oh,
Coach of the year.
Thank you.
First year back coaching his high school team. First year back, right? Got his team.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
appreciate that.
Big shout out. He talks a lot about being a coach, but we don't actually go into the details a lot. But there's the proof there that he's actually pretty damn good at his job.
Thank you. Look at that picture. That's a great
man.
That's a great picture.
That's a Photoshop. They added some.
That's not a photo. That is all there. That's all Jake.
Looks like Bruce Gronkowski.
That's all Jake. Listen, I met Bruce Gronkowski at a Bengals game when he played for it was either the Jags or the Bucks, and I met him, and we kind of looked at each other. I took my hat off, and it was an odd moment.
It was like that Spider-Man moment where you're both pointing at Hey,
that is not AI, rookie. That is not AI. That is the real deal, Holyfield.
Rookie, you're smart, and you know it's AI. You're smart person.
So, Jake, your team's in the playoffs, right?
We are. We won our first round game. We are 8-3, so we are on to the second round. This Friday we play at home, second round of playoffs. We're boys are playing lights out right now. I'm proud of them. I got a great coaching staff and I got a great group of players. They make me look good, so I can't take all the credit.
Just like your Pulse teammates, we make you look
just
good.
Like my Pulse teammates, 100%.
Hey, Jake, do you run the ball?
I do. We actually, I think we've thrown for about 2,000 and we've run about 1,800. So
hey guys, let me tell you a quick.
We're balanced.
Years ago, I'm on the chain crew for my local high school team, not the team that he coaches for. Years ago, they were playing his team, so the chain crew is always on the opposing sideline. I'm sitting there. We have to be very stoic and professional, and I hear the quarterback and the players, and every once in a while, there'd be a Bengal name. That was their play call.
That is true.
And I'm sitting there going
that is true.
I said, this guy's using Bengal play.
That is true.
And I'm looking at the other chain guy and they go, is he a Bengal fan? I'm like, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We have about 6 calls that are Bengals.
Yeah, he used one. Dan Coates.
No, that's not one. I would never do that. No.
He's got the Zac Taylor. It's the bubble screen 3 yards behind the
line. He had that
one. No, but hey, we listen. We do run the Gesicki touchdown, the second one. I'm pretty sure Zach took that on my playbook because we run that play. So I'm pretty sure Zach stole that from me. But
stole that from West Virginia. They've been-
All right. Well, hey, listen, thank you guys for that. I appreciate that. And thank all of you for joining us today again. It's a good day. It's a win. We're 4-5. Let's get back to 500. We got a busy week of football coming up. Guys, we had 700 people tonight live. Thank you guys so much, man. You guys are awesome. We would not be here without you. Keep tuning in, and we will keep giving you the best content that we possibly can. So once again, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. As always, guys, if you like this podcast, make sure you give us a 5-star review. We very much appreciate that. Find Mon and follow him on Twitter at @TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at CoachJakeOwens9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Winston Podcast Network on Twitter at WinStonyPod. Follow Justin on Twitter at Justin L. Wells. And follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter, guys. Please follow the Bengals Pulse on Twitter at Bengals_Pulse9 on Instagram, the same without the @ Bengals_Pulse9. As always, guys, check out all the awesome podcasts right here on the Winston Podcast Network. Thank you guys once again for joining us. Listen, tune in for, Thursday pregame about 6:45. We will be live. We'll give you the exact time on Twitter, but make sure you tune in. We're going to do an awesome pregame show and get you ready for Bengals Ravens round 2 in Baltimore on Thursday Night Football. He is Eric. He is Justin. This is Mon. I am Jake. This is the Bengals Pulse. Hoo day, Bengal fans. We'll see you on Thursday.
O-line, stick up for Joe Burrow, O-line.